Now, join us this morning to unpack the issues surrounding the general elections now is Dr. Moses Paul. He's a political analyst. And of course, you know him as Dr. Mo. He's live with us in our studio this morning. Thank you, Dr. Mo, for being part of the program this morning.
As always, thank you.
Right, let's get into the conversation now without wasting time. The elections are very much closer. January, we head to the polls. What is your current assessment of the ruling party, the opposition, where they stand? If we're going to get to the polls by January, do the ruling party have what it takes to get to the field and be able to display their strength as well? What's the assessment of both the party now and the opposition as regards the election?
Well, you know, for me, when we discuss these issues about parties, politics, elections, it should always center on the Nigerian people.
Right.
Yeah, because elections by themselves are just they're a tool, or they are platforms. They are the root, you know, to ensuring that we have democracy governance, you know, and where the people take the power in their hands to elect people, you know, into offices that will govern them. You know, so the discussions and the conversation should be on the Nigerian people. As we speak right now, of course, we know the status quo. Nigeria is grappling with more people are crossing the lines, and we're deepening into the poverty, you know, lines. We're being faced by very, very disturbing, you know, environmental situations. You know, we have the insecurity is pervading, and you know, lack of electricity. You know, young people can barely have opportunities. This is the current status quo, you know, with the kidnapping and so many things that I don't need to talk about. I mean, it has become, you know, the current rhetorics and narrative with Nigeria. That's what the issue should be. We should not be discussing at this particular point. The discussion shouldn't even be about, not so much about political parties, not so much about individuals. It should be about, because at the end of the day, it should be about the narrative of our conversation. Of course, we should be talking about the true state of governance. This is what Nigeria is lacking. The more we spend time talking about political parties, the more we talk about individuals, the more we run away from the critical issues, you know, of health, of education, of enterprise development, of the things that really matter, of the Nigerian people. You know, so at the end of the day, whether now or to the polls, I think a lot more work, because Nigerians are really flat down, you know, to come here. Nigerians are really flat down. Farmers can't go to their farms. Young people are completely bereaved of direction in the true sense of it. For me, these are the critical issues that we should be addressing as we go to the polls, because at the end of the day, that's what elections are for. That's what politics is about. It's about governance. It's about livelihood. It's about security. I mean, we live in the global village. And
the question will still come back to your assessment of the opposition, because it still boils down to the people at the end of the day. The politicians who are going to go to the polls are the people of Nigeria. They are not other citizens of other countries. And they are getting into office through a political party, which also affects the people at the end of the day.
True.
Who are the members of political parties? The Nigerian people. Who are they coming to govern? They're the Nigerian people. The polls, you are going to get to the polls. What are the polls? They're the people who are on the line to go cast their vote for an individual to come rule them and be in a place of power. So it still boils down to people.
Yeah, so
and that's why I decided to ask you to say, we're going to go back to the question to say, what is your assessment? The people who you're going to go to the poll to go and vote to elect in the election, what's an election? It's with people.
Absolutely.
If the people don't come up an election, you don't have an election.
True.
So it still boils down to the people. So that's why it brings back to the same question to say, what is your assessment currently? Where you can bring the element of the people, of course, it still boils down to the people at the end of the day.
I hear you. And for me, is to be able to raise the consciousness of the average Nigerian voters to understand that at the end of the day, the power is in their hands. To understand that at the end of the day, it is what they allow. It is what they give room for, what they are seeing, because we must move from the rhetorics of religion, of tribe. We must move to competence. We must begin to allow for leaders and leadership that understand the narrative of our conversation. So going back to what you're saying, so that it doesn't get polarized, you're looking at the status quo, which, of course, I talked about in the current ruling party. You know, look at the narrative. You know, because I don't want to get down to discussing individuals, but if we go that way, we're having a presidential candidate of the ruling party who is making you go to the INEC portals without a secondary school or a primary school. We should not even be. How did we get to this point in the first place? I don't know if you understand, because I don't want the people to be carried away to become sentimental. But these are not, we should not be discussing a candidate that does not even have these elementary particulars. So, and then when you go to the bigger picture, you know, where the security of the people are concerned, where you look at we still have, you know, over close to 30 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, the biggest market in Africa. We're talking about the country with the most energetic young people. We're talking about a country that has the most strategic geographic elements, cutting across from the north to the south of Nigeria. One of the most fertile soil, you know, in the world. But yet, we don't cultivate our own food. We don't make the materials we wear. You know, we don't have the security of our people. You know, so this is the status quo. So this is what the ruling party is taking to the polls. So it's important for the people to understand that as we speak right now, we do not even have a government in that sense of the word. So it's important. And then when you flip it, talking about the opposition, I think any opposition that is just about taking power is where the problem lies. We need oppositions that will come together to seize governance. And when we're talking about governance, it goes back to what I'm saying. So when we see opposition leaders who are campaigning, we should be talking issue-based, not individuals. Because if individuals are coming together to seize power, then the status quo is going to repeat itself, because that's what has been perpetuated over time. So we should be seeing people who are able to put forth the agenda, who can talk to the people critically about what they're going to do in education, what they're going to do in health, how they're going to raise. It should be about job creation. Opposition should be talking about bringing to the table what they'll do differently, you know, and then, of course, to the people, I always hold the people accountable. We must make sure we must not give in to apathy. You must make sure that you are a powered citizen, not just an ordinary citizen. And what gives you that value? You must have your voter's card. You must ensure you go to the polls, because what politics does in this environment and in this system is to get critical thinking people to run away from politics. And this is my job, you know, coming even here to say that do not be distracted by what you see, but you must ensure that you participate, ensure that that your vote counts, because each time we go through elections, that people come into governance and power without accountability, without transparency, where the value of our elections, you know, through, you know, the critical institutions, you know, if you have rigged elections, if you have massive vote buying, you know, we would allow people who are incompetent to come to power. So for me, this is what the issues are.
Where is the decision of the Nigerian people right now? Deciding their fate, the next 4 years. If you assess what this current administration have done for 4 years, how it has impacted the lives of the Nigerian people, whatever policy you roll out, whatever announcement you come to make, it trickles down to the ordinary Nigerian.
Absolutely.
How does it affect that business person down the road? How does it affect the transportation of the goods and services of that person? It trickles down. As to an international person who wants to even travel out of the shores of Nigeria, it affects all of these policies, right? Where is the decision of the Nigerian people, the decision now? Between retaining the same government to say, okay, for 4 years I've seen the assessment of this, I mean, maybe they have something to also give us in the next 4 years. Or I've looked away from them. On this other hand, the other hand of it, I have these opposition leaders. They might give me what I wanted them to give to us for these 4 years that's already going, right? So where are we caught? Where are the Nigerian people caught now? Is it between on this side, the ruling party, the other side of opposition, because if it's either you continue with this current party or you bring in another sheriff to occupy that seat.
Absolutely.
Right. So where are we? Your assessment of this current administration to say, should they continue? Because it looks like they have something to also offer in the next 4 years. Or no, we're done. We've had enough of it. Let's move on. Let's see what the next person can offer. Or is it a case of this other person can offer better than what we currently have? Because you said something in your opening and said, it is not about grabbing power. We shouldn't run by that. It's not grabbing power. It's what can they do to make the Nigerian people's lives better? So where are we caught between the Nigerian people now? Retaining or bringing someone they know they can do better, or just a choice of someone else?
I think the Nigerian people would want a better governance, far beyond the current status quo. And I want to even start from the elementary place. I just finished an election here in the federal capital. My election, for me, is the most important election, not rhetorics. AMAC is the #1 local council in Nigeria. I won the election clean, clear, not because I'm saying it. The opposition, the minister sent people to me, and I was told that I won the election. And this is the first time I'll be saying it on air. They told me, you won the election, we rigged it. The election was rigged by somebody who you can't have in the studio today. The man running AMAC does not have school certificate. They didn't go to school. Look at AMAC. AMAC is very dirty. Primary school pupils are sitting on the floor in AMAC, the #1 local council where the president lives. Yesterday, I was having meetings with the British Council where all political, people came together right here in the center of gravity. The man who the election was rigged for can't even attend that meeting because he doesn't even understand the status quo of things. That's what this government is putting on the table. They're putting incompetence. They're putting things that words cannot describe. This is what they're putting on the table. And Nigerians are watching and the world is seeing. Where is the AMAC chairman today, for whom the elections were rigged for, who never campaigned? This is what this government has put on the table. I don't even want to say shameful. I don't even have the word to describe it. So Nigerians and people can see. Here in AMAC, all the diaspora embassies are here. We were all gathered yesterday. Not even a representation, because they can't even sit in a room where the discussions that we're having can be. That's what this party, this is what this governance, this government have given to the people. So they've given you lack of education. They've given you insecurity. They've given you, I don't know how to put it. So this is the assessment of the current government from where I sit, from the capital, from the heart of Nigeria. And with the opposition, because I belong to them, Nigerians can hear me clearly. Do you prefer the person speaking to you or what you have currently? And like I said, I've been putting children in school. I understand as a geographer and as an environmentalist, I understand the power in waste management. AMAC is very dirty. This is where the president lives. This is what this current administration is offering. And I'm saying for opposition, I think we can do better. I think they should come together. I think opposition should have done much more. They could have done everything to ensure, not because it is personal, but for somebody like Dr. Mo who can bring to the table what nobody else can at the center. They should have fought more. They should have done more. So speaking as we go to the polls in January, opposition have to go beyond their selfish ambition. They must come together for governance, for security, for education, for the future of young people, not to give in to the rhetorics of just seizing power.
But when you say the opposition should do more and come together to do more and not, giving power, just letting it go, would you say you did more or you did better? Because you rightly said that you were told you won the election.
Oh, yes.
Right? So would you say you did more because the AMAC people came out and they voted for you?
Yes.
And you were told that you won the election?
Absolutely.
So the Nigerian people on their own part did their own part by coming out to vote and making sure that you won. But then at the end of the day, you weren't declared the winner, right? So would you say you did more? Because when you say opposition should do more, did you do more to make sure that you got to that office?
Now, this is where, again, the critical issues of independency of the institutions come in. INEC, EFCC, police. Where are the reform in the institution? Because if you want to rig or steal an election, It is a collaboration of the different institutions. This is where, again, back to what I said in my opening, it shouldn't be about individuals, but we must build strong institutions. INEC must be bold to stand regardless of the big men who will tell them to rig or declare results that is not the will of the people. We must have independency of institutions, because where that is lacking, we will continue to have elections and elections that are flawed. And if they are flawed, then you see the cycle of brigandage of what we're talking about continues. And let me give you the statistics and data. AMAC has about 1 million registered voters. The fact that we have just about 40,000 people coming out for the AMAC election, it shows clearly where the people are. About 1 million registered voters. And we're talking 40,000. So that's not even good enough. I don't know if you understand, you can see the data very clearly. And not my word, but I needed to check the kind of campaign that I ran. There is no presidential campaign that has ever happened like we did in this local council election. I had people, Nigerians calling from all over the world, from China, India, America, everywhere, because the bar was raised. So what was mine to do was done. But you don't win election as an individual. Where are the structural backing of the opposition? Where is the independency of the institution? And this is why I'm tasking the opposition that they must come together, not for their individual and selfish interests. So it's a call, it's a plea. I'm tasking the opposition that they can do much more and ensure that the right things are done as we move to the polls.
Well, you know, you've raised some very serious concerns and allegations, and I mean, at the heart of this particular conversation is the neutrality of the democratic institutions who are involved in the electioneering process. The stance of the ruling party to some of these allegations and the issues that you and other opposition leaders have continually raised is that you're trying to appeal to the emotional sense of Nigerian voters. And in fact, that there's no form of manipulation. In the words of Mr. President, he says that INEC is neutral. And in fact, that it's not going to roll out the red carpet for anybody. So when you see all of this playing out, does it come to you more as an opposition that does not really have the spine to come up against the structure of the APC, or, clearly just a situation where we have these institutions that are not as independent as they should be?
You know, as somebody who believes and is working towards ensuring that we have a free Nigeria in every sense of the word, when I listen to some of the statements that are made by the president regarding these issues, this is where, again, you see a lack of sincerity, you know, because I remember very clearly when, you know, may his soul continue to rest in peace, President late Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, you know, these are people from the presidency who gave clear instructions. You know, he even admitted that the process that brought him to power was flawed, and that he will ensure that, you know, there is accountability and transparency going forward. You know, when people speak in that regard, it's almost like if you follow through the conversation with the visitation of the Catholic bishops to the presidency, you know, as a president, I would admit, first of all, that these are people who hold the moral, you know, obligation of the people. These are people who are not just fathers, but people who oversee, you know, Nigerians directly from their own, you know, areas. I would admit that as a father to the entire nation, that I do not have the overview of what the average Nigerians are going through. Listen more. But what you see from the presidency is almost a complete lack of even empathy for the Nigerian people, you know, and it's very sad. It's a very difficult conversation for me because I do not, maybe because I'm not a typical politician. And when we say this, you know, it's like Mr. President said that all is fair when it comes to
politics.
All is not fair because politics is not devolved from governance or family or a livelihood. All of this, they're rhetorics. They're the way we move our country forward. So I can say that whatever I do, as long as I emerge, that it is fair. Does the end justify the means? Is that the kind of value we want to pass to our people? So when you look at these kinds of conversation, you know that we have, and I say this with all sense of sincerity, because you see, a nation can rise up from the decay or the degradation of physical elements, from even corruption. But when the moral, I don't know what to use, the moral characterization of a nation is plunged, down. No nation can survive it, because at the end of the day, it's about honesty. It's about the value system of integrity. It's about holding true to what is right, regardless of the games of thrones, of politics, or whatever we get ourselves into. So those statements are very disturbing, coming especially from the number one, because, we also have, there's the presidency. Politics is not without principle. And so these are the lines of the discussion we should be having.
And I mean, the body language and opinion of the ruling party is that there's going to be a coronation come 2027 based on demographic indices, they say. When you look at how this administration has performed, in just about a week, campaigns will start. Do you think the APC has done really badly? I mean, when you look at it, reforms in the finance sector, the foreign exchange market, in the health sector, insecurity, there's conversation about a state police bill and all of that. Do you really think they've done badly?
Nigeria has never been without bold policies from time immemorial. It has never been about policies, and it has always been about what happens when the tire meets the road. We're sitting in the studio right now. There are people in the bush who are kidnapped as we're talking right now. Before I came into the studio, there are more than 20 text messages asking for hospital bills, for house rent, for food. My phone is ringing up till now. And this is like daily occurrence. I was traveling just a few weeks ago outside the country. There are more than, I saw Nigerians, over 200 Nigerians sitting on wheelchair to go abroad for medical health care. So we don't have hospitals in Nigeria in about 4 years now. Mr. President or the FCT minister or the current APC cannot build a hospital that our presidency and the people in government can go to. So beyond the policies, till today we are still importing rice and the basic food that we eat. Beyond the policies, we're still asking Americans to come and save us. I remember I've been to about 10 African countries. I go to Liberia a lot. I go to some of these African countries. I know what Nigerian soldiers did. I remember when I had a lecture in Freetown a couple of years ago, and I was surprised that, one of the best roads was named after Abacha. And I was having a conversation after the lecture, and do you people know who Abacha is? I was told that they're going to beat me up if I say anything negative about Abacha. And I asked why. They said because it was during Abacha, through the ECOMOG, and Nigeria brought peace to some of the most gruesome, what they went through during that season. We saved Congo. We did a lot. But today, ragtag untrained people are killing our generals. So we're talking, because after all is said and done, it's not about the policies. It's about the everyday life.
Right.
It's about what we do. It's about how we carry, out our daily activities. And in closing on that, you see, we live in Abuja. It is not because there are no streets and traffic lights. Nigerians themselves, they break traffic lights every day. So what we need more than anything else are people reforms.
Okay.
We need people reform. We need Nigerians, because we are here. Your family members are the police people. You left home, you are coming to the studio. Somebody is going to the station. Another person is going to the hospital. Another person is going. So it's Nigerians. So we need people reforms.
All right.
It is still our brothers and sisters that are members of INEC.
All right. It's a good way to leave it because the people reform is very much important. The mindset of Nigerians, I mean, if we have a good one, then our leaders we're electing will also have a great one as well. But thank you so much, Dr. Paul, for your time. Dr. Mo, as we also know you as, thank you for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you.